There's an animal in the forest you'll never see moving. Doesn't matter how long you wait. Doesn't matter how quiet you stay. If you're watching, it doesn't move. But turn your back for a second. Just 1 second. And when you look again, it will have moved. Always moves. But nobody ever sees how. Took me 40 years to believe this. 40 years hearing stories. Thinking they were exaggerations. Thinking they were fishermen's tales. Until the day I saw it with my own eyes. Or rather, until the day I didn't see it, and that's what convinced me. The first time I heard about it was from a hunter named Domingos. He lived up river, about 3 days by boat from here. He'd spend weeks in the forest alone, hunting paca, sometimes tapir. He knew the forest better than his own home, or so he said. One night, we were drinking. He told me something strange. There's a thing in there, he said. I don't know what it is. Animal, spirit, I don't know. But it follows you. He took a sip of cachaca. You don't hear it, don't see it, but you know it's there. You feel it. He looked at me. His eyes were serious. And when you look back to see, it stops, becomes completely still. Like stone, I laughed. Thought he was testing me, seeing if I was foolish enough to believe. How do you know it moves if you never see it? I asked. He smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. Because it's never in the same place, he said. You look. It's behind one tree. You keep walking. Look again. It's behind another tree. Closer. Always closer. And what do you do? I asked. He was quiet for a while. You don't look back, he said finally. You keep walking, looking forward, and eventually, it stops following you. Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe it continues, but you stop knowing, and that's better. I thought about that conversation for weeks. Didn't believe it, but didn't forget it either. There's something about stories people tell at night, with the fire low, with the forest dark around you. Even when you don't believe, you remember. And when you're alone in the forest, you think about them. A few months later, I met someone else who spoke of the same thing. A boatman, young man, about 30 years old. He transported goods between villages, spent a lot of time alone on the river. One afternoon, we stopped for coffee, and he asked me if I'd ever seen the walking shadow. The walking shadow, I asked. He nodded. It has many names, he said. Some call it the guardian, others call it the follower. But everyone who spends time alone in the forest eventually encounters it. He poured more coffee. Happened to me twice. Both times, I was alone, rowing, and I started to feel like someone was watching me. What did you do? I asked. I looked back, he said, and I saw, on the bank, between the trees, something, I don't know what, but something, still, completely still, as if it had always been there. He took a sip of coffee. I kept rowing. After a while, looked again. It was in another place, closer to the river, but still motionless, like a statue. Were you afraid? I asked. He thought about it. Not exactly afraid, he said. More like respect. Like when you see a big snake, you don't mess with it. It doesn't mess with you, but you stay alert. You don't relax completely. He looked at the river. The forest has its rules, and one of the rules is, there are things that don't want to be seen, and if you respect that, they leave you alone. I started paying attention after that, when I was alone, when I was quiet, and I noticed something. The forest really does change when you're alone. Sounds you don't notice when you're with other people, silences you don't perceive. And sometimes, yes, sometimes you feel it, like something is watching, waiting. But it was only years later that I really understood. I was looking for a place to tie up the boat. It was late. The sun was already low. I wanted to find a good spot before dark. I saw a small cove.com, water, big trees on the bank, perfect. I started rowing toward it, and then I felt it, that feeling like someone was watching me. I looked at the bank, and I saw, between the trees, something brown, gray, hard to see clearly, but it was there, still, completely motionless. I stopped rowing, just looked, trying to understand what it was. It looked, I don't know, big, but not too big, strange shape. Didn't fit with anything I knew. I kept looking for maybe a minute. It didn't move, not at all. I thought maybe it was a log, a shadow, my eyes deceiving me in the weak light. So I went back to rowing, entered the cove, tied up the boat, started preparing my hammock for the night, and that feeling didn't go away. That feeling of being watched. I looked again, and almost jumped out of the boat. It was closer, much closer, maybe 20 meters from where it was before, but still motionless. Still unmoving, as if it had never moved, as if it had always been there. My heart started beating faster, because I knew knew for certain that I hadn't seen it move, but it had moved, and I didn't see how. I stood still, don't know for how long, just looking, waiting for it to move again, but it didn't move. And then I understood, it wasn't going to move while I was looking. That was the rule Domingos had talked about, the rule the boatman knew, only moves when no one is watching. And if you keep looking, you can stay there forever, and it will stay there forever too, waiting. So I did what they had told me. I stopped looking, turned my back, finished tying my hammock, made a small fire, heated coffee, and didn't look back. Not once, even though I wanted to, even though I felt that presence, that weight of being watched. I didn't look. I slept badly that night. Every sound woke me, every movement of water against the boat, every branch breaking in the forest. But I didn't look, kept my eyes closed, or looked at the river, the other way, away from the forest. And when the sun rose, when light finally returned, I looked, and there was nothing there. The bank was empty, as if there had never been anything, as if I had imagined it all. But I know I didn't imagine it, because the feeling had gone. That feeling of being watched, it had disappeared with the night, and I knew that something had been there, something that moved when I wasn't looking, something that followed me until I stopped paying attention. And then, when I stopped looking, when I showed that I understood the rules, it left me alone. After that, I started asking more people who spend a lot of time alone in the forest, hunters, rubber tappers, Brazil nut collectors, and everyone has a similar story. The details change. Some say it's big, others say it's small. Some say it looks like a monkey, others say it looks like a person. But everyone agrees on one thing: only moves when you're not looking. An old rubber tapper told me his father called it the Watcher, said it's always in the forest, always watching, but doesn't want contact, doesn't want to be seen clearly, just wants to know who you are, if you're a threat, if you understand the forest's rules. And if you understand, he said, it leaves you alone. If you don't understand, if you keep trying to see, trying to follow, then it keeps testing you, until you leave, or until you learn. My grandfather, before he died, told me that when he was young, he tried to follow it, wanted to see what it was, spent 2 days in the forest, trying to catch it moving, trying to see, and he said it was the most frightening experience of his life, not because he saw something terrible, but because he realized that no matter how hard he tried, no matter how fast he turned, he would never see, and that there was something in the forest smarter than him, more patient than him, something that knew the forest better than any human ever would. The forest isn't ours, he said. We just visit, and when you're in someone's home, you respect the rules, even if you don't fully understand them, especially when you don't understand. He looked at me. There are things in the forest that don't want to be known, and that's okay. We don't need to know everything. We just need to respect. Today, when I go into the forest alone, and I feel that feeling, that weight of being watched, I don't look anymore. I just keep doing what I was doing, rowing, fishing, tying up the boat, and I acknowledge, accept, say quietly, I know you're there, it's okay, I won't bother you. And the feeling lessens, doesn't go away completely, but lessens, as if it's accepted, as if it's permission to be there. City people, when I tell these stories, they laugh, say it's superstition, say it's imagination, and maybe it is. Maybe it's just our brain playing tricks. Maybe it's just the way the forest makes us feel small, vulnerable, watched. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not an expert. But I know what I saw, or rather, I know what I didn't see. I know something was there, and I know it moved, and I know I didn't see how. And for me, that's enough. I don't need to understand, don't need to prove it, just need to respect and live with the mystery. Live knowing there are things in the forest that will remain mysteries, no matter how many years I spend here, no matter how much I learn. And there's a beauty in that, in not knowing everything, in accepting that the forest has its secrets, and that some of those secrets aren't for us, some are just for it, for those who live in it completely, those who never leave, those who know every tree, every sound, every shadow. Those perhaps, maybe those see, maybe those understand, but us visitors, us passers-by, we only get glimpses, we only feel, we only respect. My grandson asked me once, Grandpa, are you afraid of the forest? And I thought for a long time before answering. It's not fear, I said, it's respect. It's knowing you're not the strongest, not the smartest, not the owner, and being at peace with that, being grateful you can be there. that you can see what the forest lets you see, that you can learn what it wants to teach you. And the animal that moves, he asked, do you think it's real? I smiled. Real enough, I said. Real enough to teach me humility. Real enough to teach me patience. Real enough to remind me I don't know everything, and that I don't need to know everything. I just need to respect. I wonder if you've ever felt something similar, maybe not in the forest, maybe somewhere else, but that feeling of being watched, of having something there you can't quite see, can't fully understand, but that's there anyway, present, real in its own way. If you have felt it, you know what I'm talking about. And if you never have, maybe one day you will, when you're alone, when you're quiet, when the forest, or the ocean, or the mountain, decides to show you that you're not as alone as you think, that there's more in the world than you can see, and that's okay, that's good, that's how it should be. The comments are open. If you have a story, a moment, a feeling, I'd like to hear it. I like knowing I'm not alone, that other people also pay attention, also feel, also respect the mystery. The forest is always talking, always showing, willing to accept that some things will remain mysteries, and that's okay. That's perfect.